Stacking dimes, you snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say.
All right, so it's your first day waking up in the cold world, and there's a few things you should want to do before your first Horde night. First thing, pretty simple. You want to go ahead and do your tutorial kind of quests. So you want to go through and bang those out. Collect all the materials you need. Collect a little bit of extra because you're going to need more. All right, that should be enough for now. Now we need stone. Now you need your plant fiber legs and shirt. You got a wooden club. I need to gather wood, feathers, and another small stone. Let's go head up to this tree. Take out all this wood. For the sake of this tutorial, I have all the settings for the world at the normal settings. So there's two reasons you want to do the main quests, which are pretty self-explanatory for the most part. One being is it's a tutorial. If it's your first time playing, you definitely want to have those completed. And secondly, it'll give you your first skill points. And skill points are very handy for the future of your gameplay. So you definitely want to make sure that you're doing those. I'm going to go ahead and grab some extra feathers, some more bow and arrows. And then your ultimate goal is to find the trader. You want to be able to find the trader by day one, preferably. A good thing about the bow is they buff the bow, so that's always a plus. Alright, and that is all the tutorial quests. It'll tell you that there are traders on the map now. The next thing you want to do, very important, is make sure you know which skill points you want. Reason being is you can respec later in the game, but by then you're typically like level 30-ish before you even start seeing that item. And even when you do find that item, it's usually 20 to 30k about in price. So first thing you want to do is make sure that you know what kind of melee weapon you want to take, if you want to take one. I mean, it's not required, but it's definitely recommended. Most people start with strength. You can go with Pummel Pete, which is maces. Skull Crusher would be the two-handed sledge, and then usually they'll get Sexual Tyrannosaurus, which reduces your stamina drain. And then you can go down here if you want and grab some Miner 69er and Motherlode. Miner 69er, I believe, lets you create better tools and also increases the tool damage for blocks. And then Motherlode just increases the amount of resources you get from mining. You can go to the other trees and check those out. Sometimes people will take javelins. Sometimes Deadeye's not bad because that gives you rifle damage. If you go to agility, you can upgrade your archery if you want to do archery. Agility's pretty cool because you can do like a stealth archer build, but I don't know if that's a thing in Alpha 20. I might want to check that out. So maybe let's do that this episode, and if that works, that works. But I highly recommend doing either clubs or sledgehammers, at least for the first 7 days. I mean, you obviously can't respec till later, but those points aren't going to hurt you in the long run if they're helping you survive now. So But I'm going to try something different. I want to do bowman. I'm going to do run and gun. I'm going to do parkour. I'm going to do hidden strike here. So we're going to be focusing heavily on the bow. And we're going to see if we can do a lot of sneak damage. Granted, that's not going to help me for Horde Night, but if I build a good enough base, we shouldn't have many issues. All right, just one shot at him. Got my arrow back, thank you. So yeah, the next thing you want to do is make sure you're locating the trader. Very important. There's two reasons for this. One is he can give you quests. Quest gives you pretty good rewards. Also, you can buy and sell items from him, which is also very good. So actually, there's three reasons. And the third reason is if you do, I think it's like 7 or 10 quests, he will give you a bicycle. Now, a bicycle will help you travel much faster. So you definitely want to keep and take advantage of that as much as possible. All right, so now that we are here to the trader, you want to make sure that you are grabbing his quest. Typically, I start with the closest one. Fetch is a good one to start with, so let's go ahead and take that. The reason fetch is good is because you don't have to kill any zombies in order to obtain the fetch item. And you also spend the least amount of time trying to obtain the fetch item than you do a fetch and clear or any other kind of quest. Buried supplies is also good at the very beginning, simply because you don't have food and stuff. So when you take care of that early on, you'll have extra food. So your first goal is to get as many quests done as possible. You're trying to get the bike before day 7. Like I said, I have the original settings, so it's a 7-day horde. If the only difference is if you have an earlier horde, say you have horde on day 3, you want to focus more on building a base instead of, or building your defense or your base or whatever you want to call it before. And so you could go ahead and do maybe 1 or 2 quests and then build all of day 2. But since we got 7 days, we're going to go ahead and try to bang out as many quests as we can, get the bike as soon as possible, and then work on our base. For your first 7 days, you want to go ahead and loot as much as possible. Even small things. The only reason you would stop looting is if you run out of inventory space, or it becomes an issue for you when you're trying to escape, or some other reason like that. You don't want to be super slow when you're running away. But if you're playing pretty smart, you shouldn't have that issue. You also want to make sure that you're looting everything that you find in the first trader. You'll have one of each crafting station. One is the forge, one is the chemistry station, one is the workbench, and one is the mixer. You want to go ahead and loot all those. Sometimes they'll have a campfire. Sometimes they'll have extra loot in the form of trash and other things. You want to go ahead and make sure you're looting those. Sometimes I know some traders have hidden stashes and treasure chests and stuff like that too. So if you're lucky enough to get one of those, make sure you're looting that.
You did it. Great job, traveler.
Now you can only do 5 quests per day, so you want to try to see if you can bang out as many of those as you can. You might only get 2, you might even get 3 done, 3, 4 maybe, tops. Chance of you getting them all done are pretty low, especially if you're doing buried supplies and you're working on normal settings. It'll take you forever to dig up the buried supplies. But yeah, you want to do as many as you can.
Well, alrighty.
Trying to unlock the bike as quick as possible. If you can get the bike by day 3, it'll greatly increase your looting time and will help drastically throughout the rest of the gameplay. If you're playing with the bow, make sure that you are farming as many feathers as you possibly can. It can only help you in the long run to make extra arrows. Even if you're melee, I recommend that you definitely get a bow and arrow on top of that. Reason being is it's always beneficial to have some sort of ranged attack. Even if you plan on walking around with a club all the time, it's nice to be able to take a step back and hit them from afar. Alright, so luckily I found this POI on day 1. Cool thing about this POI is you can transform this easily into a nice base. Reason being is this POI also has a basement, so you can go ahead down here. You can kind of make like this your little storage area, puts in some storage chests, and all you got to do is go ahead and build a nice little like killing hallway right in front of the door here. And then you can always build a way out or an escape route or something like that, and we'll definitely get into that a little bit later, but it's still day 1. I want to get as many trader missions done as possible, so let's go ahead and continue. One thing I do recommend is if you're going to sprint around, make sure that you have enough stamina to also run away. Sprinting uses your stamina, so does swinging. So if you're going to run around, chances are you're not going to be swinging, so make sure you got enough distance between you and whatever you're running from. Alright, so right here you can see Grandpa's Forgetting Elixir. It's 60,000 dukes. You can get this price down using your skill points and stuff like that. But like I said, the reason you want to make sure that your points aren't being wasted is because of how expensive this is. I mean, I'm finding it on day 1, which is pretty amazing. But as you can see, it still costs 60,000 dukes. The chances of me having that on day 1 is not even existent. So make sure that you are definitely making sure that your points are going not to waste. Now, as far as loot goes, you want to make sure that you're getting as much cobblestone as possible. So if you find a bunch of cobblestone like this, or any cobblestone really, you find them in these blue squares, grab it as much as you can. Cobblestone is like your first line of defense when it comes to your first Horde night, so make sure you're grabbing that. One other thing you want to make sure that you're doing is if you catch yourself out around 9:30, you want to get back to a base as quick as possible and get the hell out of there. Come nighttime, zombies are a lot faster, much more dangerous, and you want to be in a safe spot, or the safe spot that you found before 10 o'clock comes, or 2200 in game. So once you're in your safe haven for the first night, I recommend making a mine. Luxury of this place is since it's already underground, you can just go ahead and start mining anywhere, essentially. But yeah, if it's your first night, or any night really, where you're not going to go around and loot, I recommend starting a mine and grabbing resources throughout the night instead of wasting the time and just sitting it out. Mining on the first night is definitely tedious, so keep that in mind, but it is much better than just sitting around waiting for daylight to come back. So pick up that stone axe and work until the day comes up. All right, here we are at the beginning of day 2, and there's one extra tip I want to give away, and that is keep your eyes and ears open no matter how busy you are. Reason being is sometimes you'll be able to hear the zombies. So if you're not playing with your sound, I definitely recommend that. But yeah, that could be the time needed between life and death. Especially at the harder difficulties when you're playing, warrior or some other difficulty. Or if your zombie run speeds are higher than normal. Yeah, that could be the time you need to survive. So keep your eyes and ears open at all times, especially when you're busy, because they seem to sneak up on you more when you're busy. Also, one other tip, since it is 4 o'clock, the trader does not open until 6. So if you have not found a base or found somewhere that you can be safe for the night, this is a good time to go ahead and take a look while the zombies are slower and the trader is not open. As I've said, the trader does not open till 6. So you have about a 2-hour window if you haven't found a good base. I'm assuming you found one for day 1, but if you want to continue looking and find one that might be potentially better for your situation, now would be the time to look.
Trader Joel's is now open.
Right, so it's 6:05 on day 2. Trader opens. You can go ahead and continue your quests and hopefully get a bike as soon as possible. So they introduced that in Alpha 20, whereas you can get a bike after you unlock Tier 2.
My day, and here is your payment.
So go ahead and continue doing some more jobs until you unlock tier 2. Alright, everyone should know this tip and trick by now, but if you go ahead and loot things, or you go into the POI, and you go ahead and hit the quest, you can actually go ahead and loot them a second time. Not necessary, but you could go ahead and do that anytime you do a new POI. I wouldn't go ahead and do the whole thing twice, but if you want to grab some quick and easy loot, you can go ahead and grab some quick and easy loot. One little tip and trick. If you find a piece of garbage like this near the trader, one, you can't really destroy things at the trader. So you can go ahead and use this as like an extra storage thing right outside of the trader here. And you can always come back and pick this stuff up later. Small little tip. If it's not at the trader, I would not recommend it because it can be broken. But if it is at the trader, it can't be broken. One small tip. Find a wall safe or any kind of safe. You can mark it on your minimap, either as a quick waypoint. I typically like to pick one because then if you do a second quick waypoint, you will not delete it. And usually I'll do X marks the spot, and you can just type in safe. And then if you ever want to come back and loot it, you know exactly where it is. Small little tip, just to keep yourself organized. Another tip you could do, say you got a bunch of zombies out here, you can go ahead and take advantage of the trader. Since the trader location is invulnerable, you can shoot arrows through some of these slots still. Or in some of the other trader locations, you can shoot down on them. Keep that in mind. As you're going through your playthrough, you can go ahead and run right into the trader. You're safe from their attacks. And you can still shoot them. Alright, so one more tip and trick while I'm here. If you're running low on water at all, you can go ahead and pick up some water from any water source. It'll turn into murky water. As long as you have an empty jar, you can go ahead and fill it. And then later you can use your murky jar or your murky water at a campfire and it will turn into boiled water. So you have, as long as you have jars, and even if you drink one of these, it will turn into another jar. So you essentially have a unlimited supply of water as long as you are collecting it. Later on in the game, it probably won't be necessary, but in the early stages, definitely recommended.
Howdy.
All right, so here we are back at the trader. We did 7 quests so far. So if I am correct,
We're cooking.
we should be able to unlock tier 2 now. Go ahead and grab the forge schematic. And as promised, after you complete 7 quests, you can get a bicycle. You can go ahead and grab these other things too if you'd like. Ammo crafting, range mods, pipe pistol, cloth armor. All very useful, but I'm going to go ahead and take the bicycle. It'll give you
Can you do me a
another trader location,
this kind of
so you can go ahead and use your new bicycle to go and see the new trader. And then you'll have tier 2 quests unlocked, which will give you much better rewards as you complete them. And typically better loot during the quest process. All you have to do to place the bike down is equip it, make sure you're out of range of the indestructible area, and place it down. Now you are the owner of a bicycle. And now I would recommend using this to go and unlock the new trader. And then you have tier 2 quests. So as you can see, I've completed 7 quests before noon of day 3. So I basically did 3 quests per day. And then I banged out the last quest before the trader opened on day 3. So now all we have to do is travel to our tier 2 location, grab our tier 2 quests. Once you find your new trader, first thing you want to do is go to your map, mark it on your mini map. It will be marked for you when you're in vicinity, but once you start leaving like the town, it will disappear and you'll have to basically explore until you find him again. It only opens within a certain distance. I'm not entirely sure what that number is, but if you mark it yourself on the map like this, trader, then it will always be there. All you got to do is open the map, then it'll show up just like it would for the safes that we marked over here, and your original building, or wherever you place your claim block. So keep that in mind. Again, first thing you want to do when you find a new trader is go ahead and make sure you're looting everything.
I knew you had it in you. Good work.
Now, once you find the new trader, I would not recommend grabbing one of these quests unless you want to bang one out quickly, but I'm assuming your base will be near the first trader. Typically, that's what I do. If you haven't had a base yet and you want to start a base near the second trader, you could go ahead and do that. Just make sure that your first trader is marked on the map. But yeah, wherever your base is basically where you want to be accepting the quest, because it'll be closer to your location at that time. All right, one other tip I recommend. Go into strength. You have Master Chef here. 1 point in Master Chef. All you need is a 1, and you can get it as soon as you start the game. Will save you a lot of headaches. The reason being is you can go ahead and craft all this stuff out of meat. Before you have Master Chef, you can only make charred meat. I think you need Master Chef to make boiled meat, grilled meat, boiled egg, and bacon and egg. So with that being said, 1 point in Master Chef unlocks all of those. And eggs come by fairly quickly, especially since I'm being an archer. I gotta farm all the feathers and get eggs while I do it. And it'll save you a lot of time, effort. It'll save you some meat. Charred meat will give you hunger. It will fill your hunger, but it also drains your thirst. Whereas boiled meat does the exact opposite. It basically fills your hunger and your thirst. So it'll save you time and effort just by that 1 point. You don't necessarily need it. You can find the schematics alone, but that 1 point isn't going to hurt you. As mentioned before, you can also boil your water here. You go ahead and fill up your containers with any outside source of water. It'll turn into murky water, and you can boil all that murky water into boiled water. Also, while we're here, while you're getting that 1 point in Master Chef, some food is better than others. They all give you a max stamina bonus of 10 of all the ones that you can make. Even the charred meat, I believe, even gives you that. Boiled meat, however, gives you extra 10 water here. And then if you go to bacon and eggs, it'll give you 36 food. So bacon and eggs is the best bang for your buck if you're just trying to fill your food. If you want to fill your food and water, boiled meat is second best. And then the regular grilled meat and the boiled egg are essentially the exact same thing. So if you're trying to save your meat, I recommend saving it for boiled meat and or bacon and eggs. Whereas if you want to use one of your eggs, you can get the same stats out of one egg as you would for 5 meat. One more tip. If you farm a chrysanthemum, Jesus, if I can speak today, you can go ahead and make the red tea. You get goldenrod flower. You can go ahead and farm or make goldenrod tea. So go ahead and farm those anytime you see them. It'll definitely help you out in the long run. It still only takes you 1 boiled water, so you might as well get the stat bonus as well when you drink. Alright, so as you can see, you have chrysanthemum and water, boiled water. You can go ahead and make red tea. And if you have goldenrod flower and boiled water, you can make goldenrod tea. Now, these are usually typically overlooked, but they're very useful. So a regular boiled water will give you 20 water. So basically, it's not even as good as the red tea, but it only takes 1 boiled water to make it. So with that being said, you're trading your boiled water and 1 chrysanthemum for a red tea. Now the red tea gives you 15% stamina regen, and it also gives you 15% efficient digestion, which means you'll be eating and drinking less if you drink red tea. Goldenrod tea is similar, only in the fact that it cures dysentery instead of the efficient digestion. So basically what happens if you catch dysentery, and dysentery you basically get by drinking either murky water or like spoiled meat or things like that. This will actually get rid of your dysentery. So this allows you to eat things that you're not really supposed to eat, supposedly. But then that'll cure it. So, but it also gives you the stamina regen, and it's also extra 4 water on top of what a regular boiled water is. So it is definitely in your interest, if you can, to grab chrysanthemum, which is this flower right here, the red one, and goldenrod, which is this one. You don't have to necessarily look for them, but if you have them and you can craft it, go ahead and do so. You get bonus to water, efficient digestion, and stamina regen. So, I mean, who's going to turn that down? And they're typically very overlooked. So, one tip right there.
Howdy.
All right, so now that you unlock tier 2, go ahead and grab one of those. Got some that are pretty close. Let's go ahead and grab this guy, fetch and clear.
I can't thank you enough.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. All right, so here we are at our first tier 2. I highly recommend that you do at least 2 or 3 of these quests before day 7. Definitely help you out. All right, so one other thing you want to take advantage of as soon as possible. Hardest thing to find will be a sewing kit. If you can grab some leather, duct tape, cloth armor, or cloth fragments, I'm sorry, and a sewing kit, you can craft a clothing pocket mod. There is a double pocket mod, but you need to have Needle and Thread Volume 7, which is a book. But until then, you can craft up to 3 of these, I believe, and you can put them on your armor. This will alleviate one of the spaces in here, so you'll be encumbered less. Keep that in mind as you play along. I think you can use them on your chest, your legs. So this down here, and I think maybe this bandana or the overcoat. It's one of those two. So you can have 3 total. When you get the double, that'll be 3 doubles. So that'll open up 6 spots altogether. And you can also get armor pocket mods, being double or triple. And you can put those on 2 or 3 slots as well, which will alleviate most of your inventory space. You could also go into your skills here and get Pack Mule, but I feel like it's wasted points because you have other ways of opening up your inventory. So, I mean, maybe if you want to get like 1 point or 2 points into it early, if you're going a strength build, that would be okay. But I wouldn't recommend going full Pack Mule at any point in the game. It's just an unneeded skill, really. You have other ways of alleviating your inventory space. One other thing you can do to make your job easier, if you go ahead and find a Batter Up Volume 2, or you happen to find one of the leather jackets, or a college jacket, if you go ahead and take a look at it, it says you feel like a pro athlete in college and you run 10% faster. Now that is a regular t-shirt. It doesn't count as your armor, but it will give you the buff of running 10% faster at all times, regardless of whether you're wearing light armor or heavy armor. So if that's something you're into, definitely look for the college jacket. And you can also craft one by finding Batter Up Volume 2. All it takes is cloth fragment and paint. Now, how you get paint is pretty simple. All you have to do is get chrysanthemum, which we already collected for our red tea, and murky water. So instead of the boiled water you need for the red tea, all you need is murky water. Go ahead and throw in your fuel. Paint. Grab 2 of the paints. Oops, not 13. Grab 2 paint. Takes about 30 seconds. All right, so apparently when you're crafting paint, each one that you craft is actually 100, so keep that in mind. But with that being said, all you need to do is this will replace any kind of t-shirt or jacket you already have. But as I said before, it gives you a 10% run speed bonus, and that is definitely beneficial pretty much at all times of the day. It'll make you run faster than some zombies if, say, for example, they're on sprint or something like that. But yeah, 10% run speed is definitely very helpful, and it's like one of the only clothing armor that gives you a bonus like that. So keep that in mind. Definitely a nice little tip and trick there. I don't know if everybody knows that one, but definitely very useful. One other thing, You can craft any pipe weapon using 4 short iron pipe, 2 pieces of glue, and 6 wood. That includes the pipe machine gun, pipe pistol, pipe rifle, and the pipe shotgun. They all take the same materials. So if you're looking for a quick, easy gun, granted, I would definitely upgrade as soon as possible, but those are your options. And you can make those as soon as you have those materials. You don't need a book to learn them. So you can literally make those on day 1. Right, here we are on day 5, and this is when I recommend that you highly start focusing on your base. You want to make sure that you're getting enough materials. Go ahead and chop a lot of wood. Make sure you have a decent amount of cobblestone by now. I would say at least over 1,000 at least. But you definitely want to make sure that you're getting your wood either before today or on today. And then you want to spend day 6 crafting your base. And then you want day 7 to be basically finishing up whatever you think you missed. You don't want to be caught unprepared for the Horde. All right, so one more quick tip. You find rocks like this, you can go ahead and mine them. This one is iron. It looks bronzish, and it kind of looks like a stone with some like bronze look to it. So you can mine this. Once you mine it, it'll say that there is more resources under the ground. So you can actually go ahead, pop open the ground then, and there's more underneath. So what I like to do is go ahead and mark it. Do iron 4. And there are multiples of these. So this one is obviously going to be stone. There is this one over here, which I think is nitrate. Yeah, that is nitrate powder. There is coal. I believe you can find that in the forest as well. There's oil shale, which I think is only found in the desert. And there is one other ore, I believe. All right, so this is a very small idea of what your base could be. Made a very simple killing corridor, or some people would call it a turtle base. I still have the stuff down here that I found from our first day. It is this POI over here. So I ended up just building a nice little hall straight out. And essentially how you make this one work is you go ahead and build some hatches. Let's go with 10 for now. Go 12. You want some iron hatches? We'll go with 6 for now. And all you got to do is make sure that you are placing them so that they open away from you. So I'll start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you want to do the same thing, but on the roof. So go to on face. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and upgrade those all the way. Now the ones you want the strongest are the ones in the front. With that being said, they'll be getting the most attacked. Those are the ones you'll be leaving open the most. And you should be able to repair them anytime there's downtime in the Horde, if there is any. Sometimes there won't be. You'll end up losing a hatch or two. That's why we're putting more than one. Alright, there you have it. We're fully upgraded. Now for your first Horde night, you could go ahead and just have the first one upgraded here and probably still be fine. I like to do a little above and beyond just because I don't want to be struggling later. So I go a little extra. But there is one thing you want to keep in mind. So since this has 3,000 HP, you want to make sure that your base is almost as strong. If you don't, you will have an issue where the zombies go for the path of least resistance. So you can see that these cobblestone are only 1,500. So if you put too many of those hatches up, I recommend only leaving the one open until you start having issues. But if you start running into an issue where they attack other areas of your base, I recommend that you maybe close the strong one and go ahead and open this a little bit weaker one. For your first Horde night, it shouldn't be too bad. But when you're going and doing your upgrades now, you want to make sure that you're upgrading the second layer first. So if a zombie is standing here, beating on your wall, it's going to beat where it's looking. So obviously eye level right here is where it's going to attack. So you want to go ahead and upgrade all of that. Now if you have more than enough cobblestone, you should do the third layer next, and then the first layer. So if you have enough cobblestone, or if you have enough to complete the whole thing, go ahead and do that. But if you're working with a limited supply, you want to make sure that you're doing it in that order. The second row first, then the third row, and then the first row. I have enough, so I'm going to go ahead and do both top and bottom row. Apart from these certain layers being upgraded, you want to make sure your front is also fully upgraded. Even the floor here. Most of the zombies should go through this area. So this area in the front will be taking the most damage out of the entire base. If everything works the way it's supposed to. Do not forget to upgrade the floor underneath your hatches and also above your hatches. If it's within your spending limit and you have enough resources, I recommend doubling up the walls around the main part of your base, or where your loot and stuff, or your main base goes. In this case, my base goes down into the ground through a ladder. But yeah, through your main area, I recommend doing a double wall. You only need the outside one to be wood, but you want the inside one to be cobblestone. This being, again, zombies follow the path of least resistance. So if you decide you want to put 2 of these up, the zombie's going to go, hey, that's really hard to break through, and start breaking through your cobblestone wall, because these are so strong. They're at 3,000, whereas your cobblestone is 1,500. So what you need to do is make sure that you are upgrading the outside to make sure it's stronger than at least one of these doors, or they will start attacking your wall instead. You could go ahead and do regular doors at first. These ones are only 750. Or upgrade to a point to where they're matching your 1,500 health cobblestone. But if you want to be extra safe, you're going to end up needing double walls anyway. So I would definitely put those up if you have the resources. As it stands now, I would probably, and if you're working with limited resources, I would probably go ahead and make sure these aren't fully upgraded, and make sure they're about same health as the cobblestone here. All right, we now have the base double walled. As you can see, this is our entrance right in front of us. It's got 2 walls, 2 layers. The ceiling is only 1 layer, but I double layered the entire back end too. Reason being, as I said before, zombies take the path of least resistance. So you want to make it the hardest for them to attack the walls, and that will force them to come through this corridor, which is where you plop these hinges up, and then you can go and use your melee weapons to take them out. They'll be standing right in front of the hatch here. If you're looking for a quick way to get some cobblestone, or if you run out, you can always craft cobblestone with clay soil and small stone, and that can help you finish whatever it is you're finishing. So you have those lying around, or if not, soil or clay soil is fairly easy to pick up. All you got to do is farm some of the grass or dirt that's around you, and rocks are fairly simple as well. You can go ahead and farm a rock. Together, they make cobblestone. If you want to change the shape of your block, all you got to do is hold R, bring up another menu, and pick your shape there, and a bunch of other options. So if you want to change the shape and or rotation or anything like that, all you got to do is hold R. All right, it is officially the start of day 4. This is where you want to make sure that you have the highest level weapon craftable. So if you're working with clubs, or if you're working with sledgehammers, you want to go ahead and make sure you're crafting the highest level that you can. Same with either your bow or your other weapons that you found during your scavenging. So if you found a double barrel like I did, I would go ahead and equip that. I also found a pipe rifle, which won't be too much useful in Horde Night, but I will be using the double barrel shotgun for sure. You want to make sure that your base is fully upgraded. Typically cobblestone should be good enough for the first Horde night. And you also want to make sure that you have a decent amount of medical supplies and a bunch of other things. So if you're lacking on any of that, day 7 is the day that you want to go and make sure that you grab those. If you have everything, you're free to do whatever you want up until about, I'd say about 6 o'clock. Because then you really want to definitely hunker down, make sure that you got everything that you need. Horde starts at 10. So as soon as the nighttime comes, the Horde will be here and at your doorstep. So you don't want to be caught out in the open. All right, it's day 7. Sky's full of red. Soon the Horde will be upon us. Ominous. But with that being said, you want to make sure that you have like one final checklist before the Horde actually arrives. Very simple, but a lot of people tend to forget it, including me to this day. First thing you want to do is if you modified any weapons, you want to make sure they are reloaded. Secondly, you want to make sure you have enough ammo for every weapon that you're carrying. You want to make sure that you're carrying health supplies, and you also want to make sure that you're carrying stuff to repair your base on the fly if needed. So stuff like metal or iron to replace the hatchets here, to repair the hatchets. Some extra cobblestone in case you can throw up some repairs there. For the most part, this should be the only place taking damage on this base build. So yeah, you want to make sure you have like one final checklist for the Horde night. But with that being said, that is all the tips and tricks I have for you today. If there was anything helpful, please leave a like on the video. I'd greatly appreciate it. Let me know in the comments if there was something that you did not know or were unaware of. Let me know in the comments if there's something that I missed. I would greatly appreciate knowing anything that I missed. And also, subscribe to my channel to see more content just like this. So, with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. And I really hope to see you in the next one. Take care.